Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to episode number 134 of Mirrorless Minutes. This is kind of a different episode in light of the madness that we're living in right now. Mike isn't on the show tonight. His work is chaos, and it's just overwhelming for him, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people who are watching. I'm working remote until further notice, which it's funny because initially I thought this is going to be great. I'll just wear pajamas all day and just work in my own little space on my computer setup here that I'm super comfortable with. And it's not quite as fun as what I thought. It's a little lonely. There's not the office banter that you're used to. Granted, everyone always talked about sports, and I could really care less about sports. But it was still nice to have the camaraderie that happens in the office and the ease of communication. I can holler over at the next cubicle if you need something from someone and you get an instant response. Whereas here, obviously not quite so quick. A lot of emails bouncing back and forth, a few phone calls. Morning meeting is done via Skype now, that's kind of cool. It's nice to do that. You get to see who's wearing pajamas in the morning and who's dressed for success every day. But Mike's work is a lot different than mine. He manages hundreds and hundreds of people across the country. And of course, as you would expect, there are employees who are sick and being diagnosed and things like that. So it's kind of taking a toll on Mike. And then he messaged me earlier and said that he wouldn't be able to make the show. He was getting out of work extra late today, and his daughter's not feeling well. So he's extremely stressed out. So kind of thinking a lot about Mike tonight. And thinking about all of my viewers out there that take the time to tune in. Every time we do an episode, we've been a little scattered on our schedule lately. So I thank you for when you do drop in. I appreciate it. And I hope that everyone is doing okay out there. For those of you that are hunkered down and, sheltering in place, I think I've seen that term thrown around a few times. I hope you're doing well and keeping your sanity about you. I said, I think in a couple of social posts, that this would be a short episode, and it is going to be a short episode. I just wanted to touch on two things, really. One was just a continuation of where I had left off on the last couple of episodes, talking about being in a creative rut and trying to get out of that. And I'll show you guys just kind of how I got out of that rut. Just a hello to everybody. Hello to John, Rick, Tim, David, Steve, Shelly, Jeff, everybody. I'm super stoked that you guys dropped in. And yeah, Tim, I'm sorry to hear that a lot of older people they can't even really go anywhere, and that's horrible. So hopefully those people are set up with some sort of technology that maybe lets them FaceTime. I know that that's not exactly the easiest thing to do sometimes with older generations, but we live in a different day and age. So hopefully some of those people are able to communicate with loved ones that way. I'm going to jump right into this image share. It's completely different than probably what you've ever seen from me. Actually, I know it is completely different than anything you've ever seen from me, because it's completely different than anything I've ever done. But it completely got me out of my rut. And it's funny how shooting what I'm going to share here really tied into what I've always done as far as photography goes. And I did a boudoir shoot. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe that I was actually doing one, but I did. And let me just throw this out there right now. There is, and this will sound horrible, but don't take it the wrong way, I hope. There is nothing inherently sexy about the act of doing a boudoir shoot. So for those women out there who have always wanted one and they're a little on edge if the only photographers that in their area or that they know that are doing boudoir shoots are men, I can tell you that it's a very technical thing, but very fun and very challenging, actually, working with lighting in a completely different way. This was an all natural light setting, and it was a total blast. And so I almost approached it sort of the way I do with landscape photography. I just kind of see the human form sometimes as all these natural shapes and textures and forms, like you would see outdoors when you're shooting landscapes. And maybe that helped kind of keep my head in the frame of not freaking out and thinking I don't know what in the heck I'm doing. And I kind of worked through it, I think, pretty well. I've only got a couple images to share, but they were very fun. These were all shot with the Sony A7 III and the Sony's cheap 50 millimeter f1.8. Pretty much straight out of the camera with these. Of course, playing with shallow depth of field and keeping that spray of flowers in the background to add a little pop of color. But the texture on the fishnet stockings was astounding. And I've never honestly looked at fishnet stockings up close. And when I was going through the editing process and noticed that there's this little intricate webbing where the openings meet, there's these other smaller openings. It's pretty cool. Kind of a learning process for me doing this entire shoot. A lot of fun. So again, we just played around with natural light and did a lot with implied, I don't want to say implied nudity, but just implying things in the image. It's funny how you can convey this sense of sexiness or eroticism without your model having to be dressed anything that would be uncomfortable for anyone to shoot with. A lot of fun playing with this. And it's great to have a model who knows what they're doing. And because I don't know how to pose people, it's just not my thing. You want to see a Tracy McGlasky or Joe Edelman or someone who knows how to actually work with people. I don't. I work with trees and rivers and lake shores and things like that. So again, it helps to have someone that knows what they're doing so you can focus on the technical, getting lighting right and compositions and things like that. And again, I wanted to work with kind of saturating colors a little bit and leaving a lot to the imagination was kind of the whole fun part of this. And this next one, little bit risque, but again, this goes back to the implied thing. I know this is really over the top for me. I know I'm blushing right now sharing this because I can't stop laughing as I talk. But this is, again, where I was talking about implied. The model did not take off any clothing for this photo or anything like that. It's just purely a prop. And again, a lot of fun to just silhouette against the light coming in the window. There wasn't a lot of space to work with here, but I still think everything turned out really fun, doing that shoot. And again, this kind of helped break me out of that whole creative rut. Again, a lot different than probably people are used to seeing from me. And I had a lot of fun with it. And I hope that if you can, maybe it doesn't have to be boudoir, but shoot something completely 100% outside of your comfort zone. And since then, I've actually been out shooting and going out shooting. And I don't know if it's inspired by breaking through some sort of limitations in my head about doing something I have no idea how to do or what it was. But for me, it seemed to work a lot. And I know right now isn't probably the best time to just charge out the front door and tackle a new project, or could it be? And I want to talk about that here in a second. So a friend of mine, and I'll just jump right into it. So a friend of mine and I were talking today, and I was talking about the show and just how everybody's probably feeling right now. A lot of people are scared, being very cautious, staying indoors a lot. So I started wondering, what can people be doing right now? What are people shooting? I'm kind of curious what everybody's doing. Has photography stopped for people? Are they actually going out into the streets and shooting the empty streets? Well, what's going on? So she said, why don't you ask your viewers what they're shooting? Why don't you ask them to document this whole experience? I mean, we're photographers. That's what we do. It doesn't matter what genre you shoot. Everything you do is documenting the moment, right? And she said, ask your viewers to document this whole experience and share their photos with you guys to show on Mirrorless Minutes. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's an incredibly great idea. So I'm just going to throw that out there and ask you guys, if you're looking for something to do while you're kind of hunkered down and you do break out of your comfort zone and shoot something completely different, whether it's macro or what I did, I want to see it. Mike and I would love to show your guys' work. And I'm going to put a link out there, on social media with my email address. I'm probably going to get spammed like crazy for doing it. But if you want to just email me 1 or 2 photos and a description of either anything, what you were thinking when you did it, why you're shooting those subjects, what your camera settings were, anything about the photos. I think on the next episode, Mike and I are just going to do the entire episode sharing your guys' photos and what you were doing to document your time during this whole pandemic, that's just sweeping the world and has so many people locked up inside their homes and not going out. And I'd imagine we'll probably get some people that are street photographers, and we're probably going to get some shots of empty streets, empty roads, empty neighborhoods, things like that. We welcome anything that you guys are out shooting. We would love to do that. And again, just watch social media for an email from me, or you can swing over to my website and just contact me through that. Again, we would love to see what you guys are doing when things are all crazy like this. And on that note, so I've got this little project that, maybe if you're not sure what you want to do, I know I got to get off the sexy photos here. So something that I did quite a while ago, oh my gosh, it's probably been 5-6 years, maybe longer. It was the middle of winter and I was going stir crazy, kind of like I am now, working from home, and probably like a lot of viewers are. I decided to try to photograph what it looks like when a light bulb is burning out. You get this little waft of smoke, and I know not everyone probably might not have incandescent bulbs anymore in their homes, but if you can find a couple of them hidden away somewhere, I've got a tutorial on YouTube that shows the whole process of how I did it. And mine it's pretty simple with a little bit of complexity to it, but you don't have to have the exact setup I did to do it. I went out and bought a lamp just to do this project with, but this might give you something to do. It was really fun. Like I said, it was really easy to take these photos. I went through probably 12 or 13 light bulbs. I just went to a dollar store and bought the cheapest light bulbs that they had and just spent some time in a dark room photographing these light bulbs, and they all take on some crazy characteristics. And I think this is probably my favorite one because it reminds me of a mushroom cloud from an atom bomb being detonated. Again, you don't need pro lenses. You don't need the biggest and baddest camera. You don't need pro capture. You don't need anything special. Just any camera will do, and just follow the basic settings that I provide in the YouTube video. And again, maybe this is something that kind of breaks you out of your boredom of sitting inside and not having anything to shoot, something different that you might not have ever tried before. And the link to that, I'll put that out in a tweet. It'll go out on, my Facebook page and my Twitter account, and the Mirrorless Minutes Facebook pages and Twitter accounts as well, right after the show is over. Again, just a super fun, easy project. And I'm not going to keep you guys more than just a minute or two longer. Like I said, this was going to be a short show. And again, I just want to ask, if you're doing anything to document this whole experience, we would love to see and share what you guys are creating. Again, just pay attention to the Mirrorless Minutes Facebook page. I'll put a link to my email address there. You can reach me through my website, through the contact form there. Reach out to me directly if you know me through any social media, and I'll give you my email address. We would love to share everyone's experiences from this. And we'll probably do that show next week. So it'll give you something to do over the next 6, 7, 8 days or so. I don't know if we'll do it on Wednesday night. Maybe we'll do it on Thursday or something. Give people a little bit of extra time to create during this period. No pressure. Just whatever it is you're shooting. If you're sitting on the couch, working from home on your laptop, and you see the dog walk through the room and it just looks kind of neat over the top of the laptop, and you just happen to snap a photo. It doesn't have to be with your big cameras. Anything, any way that you're documenting it. We'd love to share that with everyone. And I really would like to see some of our international viewers and listeners to participate in this as well. I know a lot of people that watch and listen to the show are fairly regional. It seems like we have a strong Midwest connection here, but people from other parts of the country, we would love to see how everyone else is working through this time and share that with our viewers. So that's all I've got for tonight. You guys keep Mike in your thoughts. I know he's pretty stressed out right now, worried about his daughter, and I completely understand. And I hope you all are doing very well and staying healthy, washing those hands as often as possible, and just, you know what they say, social distancing. But we can always stay connected online. And if you ever want to talk, just reach out to me. I'm always just a text message, an instant message, a Skype call, whatever you want away. So you guys take care. Thanks for dropping in tonight. And I hope you're documenting this wild, wild experience we're having. Take care.